Hello and welcome to the Empower Yourself Summit. My name is Pamela McAlexander and I will be your host. Today I have a wonderful woman, and we were just talking about a mompreneur. Amanda McClellan is a passionate mompreneur, committed to helping women find their passions, love their lives, and live their dreams. And as a mom of two daughters under the age of 3 and owner of a 6-figure-a-year business, Amanda knows what it is like to be elbow deep in mompreneur challenges. That's why she created the Moms Making It Happen business coaching program. By providing top-notch business coaching, marketing skills, and network opportunities, she strives to help women create the business and family life that they love. Amanda is also a well-known Instagram expert and regularly helps clients create a visual business brand, significant presence, trackable results, and a dedicated client base using Instagram. At this time, I would like to welcome Amanda McClellan.
Hi, Pam. Thank you so much for having me. I'm just really honored to be on the summit, and thank you so much for inviting me to be here.
Well, thank you. As you know, the topic of our summit is empower yourself. So we're covering the gamut of, conquering your fear, eliminating self-doubt, really taking your power back and living the life of your dreams. And as anybody who is a mom knows, that is not always the easiest thing to do. So if you wouldn't mind sharing with our listeners, a struggle story that you've gone through personally, where, what you dealt with, how you got through it, and how you came to be where you are today, which is obviously living the life of your dreams.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Yeah, well, it's funny because not only is it one of the hardest things, it's arguably the hardest thing is to continue to empower yourself daily and be in the flow where you can get things done and be inspired in your business and in life and just really, lead the life that we're all here to lead. So challenges have not been scarce in my life, that's for sure. It's been one after the other. Just a little bit of backstory on me. I was a middle school teacher. And I grew up in a family of entrepreneurs. So why I thought teaching would be right up my alley, I have no idea. But I became a middle school teacher, and I loved interacting with my kids. So I did fall in love with actually teaching, but not in that setting. So I literally felt like a caged animal as a teacher. It just was not for me at all. And so I wanted to, strike it out on my own as an entrepreneur. And that was all well and good. I didn't really have, people say they don't have anything to invest in their business now. I just laugh because I was making, pennies as a brand new teacher. And yet I still figured out ways to make it happen, to reinvest in my business. And this was 5 years ago. So, this has been 5 years. And within the first 2 years of my business, I had gone from 0 to a 6-figure-a-year income as an entrepreneur, mainly in the field of network marketing and MLM, and absolutely loved that, honed in on my coaching skills, and so that was 2 years, and then I had my first daughter, and that was great, and I was introduced to the challenges of being a mom and getting things done at the same time, and with one child, it's still pretty feasible, right? You can still get stuff done with one child. And then my second daughter came along, and wow, it's a whole different ballgame when you have two as opposed to one. And so, just being, like I said, elbow deep in those challenges. And being an entrepreneur has really been a lifesaver for my husband and I. Well, one, because we were able to retire him from his corporate sales job. So he was on the road a couple days a week. His health was, not really great because he was on the road all the time. So we were able to bring him home. He's a stay-at-home dad. He helps me run the businesses. And, he has my daughter right now so that we can do this interview. It's just a real blessing. But secondly, when our second daughter was born, she has a genetic breathing syndrome. So when she's awake, she's a completely normal child. And when she falls asleep, her brain, her autonomic nervous system doesn't always tell her to breathe or breathe deeply enough. And so she has a little trach from that we'll get rid of one day, but for the first few years of her life, she'll have a trach. And we spent 2 months in the Children's Hospital. We live near Pittsburgh, so we were over in the Pittsburgh Children's Hospital. Amazing place. one of the biggest challenges of our entire life. I mean, being uprooted, literally my husband being here with our oldest daughter most of the time, me being 2 hours away with our youngest daughter most of the time. It was crazy. It was like one of the biggest challenges that we could have ever faced. But to have the flexibility of having your own business and being able to, lay out the groundwork for what you want things to look like, when you can fit in a little bit of work here and there and make phone calls and move forward, it's just been such a blessing. I just feel so called to share that with other women who may find themselves in a challenging situation and they've suddenly created choices for themselves as opposed to being told, oh no, you have to be at work at this time on this day, and being honed into a certain amount on their paycheck. So that's the big one for me.
Wow. So you're still kind of dealing with this too, are you, as far as her health goes? I mean, is this something that requires a lot of care on your part? Or like you said, she leads a normal life when she's awake. It's just when sleeping that it becomes a problem?
Right, yeah. So she has a trach and she is on a vent when she sleeps. And so it's really not a huge, it doesn't require a lot of time every day, but it's just a little bit of extra caring for her trach and keeping an extra eye on her and making sure she's okay all the time. So
okay.
It's a little bit more complicated than a regular kid.
But it's still, I mean, to have two under the age of 3, it's like, I gave you lots of credit because I made sure mine were 3.5 years apart.
Yeah, my oldest literally just turned 2.5. So she's like not even close to 3 yet.
Wow. And they keep you busy.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Let me ask you this. Because I know there are some women out there who do not even have a clue of what a mompreneur is. Do share that with us.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's a mom who's also an entrepreneur. And, there's a lot of driven, amazing women out there who, for one reason or another, just have this desire to have their own business. And maybe it's to solely provide for their family, or maybe they're a stay-at-home mom and they just want to provide a little bit of extra for the household to go do those extra special things together. Or maybe it's a passion project of hers, that she just loves to do it and she gets paid at the same time because she creates a great service or a great product. But yeah, it's basically just a mom. I say just a mom. Yeah,
don't downgrade our level here.
Right, exactly. A mom who's also an entrepreneur. That's really as simple as it is.
Now, let me ask you this. So you were a teacher. So obviously the being around children thing was definitely not an issue for you. So, when you decided to have kids, that, just kind of went hand in hand, being good with children and teaching.
Yeah.
But truly, I mean, to go from that, a steady paycheck, even though I know teachers are definitely so grossly underpaid, it isn't even funny. But how did you step out of that comfort zone of, here's a steady paycheck? Now, granted, your husband worked and he worked in sales, so there's that major income source there. Mm-hmm. But for you to step out of yours to do something that, hey, will it work or won't it work? How did you do that?
Well, that's a great question. I taught for 3 years and I've now been an entrepreneur for 5. So I've officially, been on my own longer than I was teaching. But it was a couple different things. For one, my second and third year of teaching, people talk about sacrifice and what it really takes to be successful. I would get home from school and a lot of times I would tutor kids after school just to create some extra income for myself. So I might have gotten home, if I came right home after school, 3:30 or tutored, 5-ish, something like that. I would literally be on my computer until midnight figuring out how to do different forms of internet marketing. I was like enthralled by it. So social media marketing, blogging, video marketing, you name it. I was like obsessed with trying to figure out how it worked. So I put my hours in. I tried to count one time and I literally, over those 2 years, had to have put thousands of hours in trying to figure those things out. So I kind of had 2 jobs. So when the end of that third year came, it was a natural next step for me to say I wasn't making a lot of money, but I knew that I had the knowledge and the skill set. And that's what I would encourage anybody, going cold turkey and just up and walking away and deciding to start from scratch as an entrepreneur. You're going to be putting yourself in a tight spot. So I had some skills. I was generating a tiny bit of income, not anywhere near what I was making teaching. But you're right. My husband had a decent job, and we were going to move. He got a new job and we were going to move for it. And funny story, we just could not find a house in that town that we liked. So we ended up staying here in our own home that we've been in for the last 5-6 years. But that was like my excuse. Like, that's why I left teaching, was because I was moving, and I never ended up moving. But, I loved all my coworkers. I loved my principal, and we left on good terms. But that was kind of that's how I walked away.
Now, let me ask you this. You taught ancient history?
Yes.
One of my favorite subjects.
Yeah.
And what do you do in your business right now?
Regarding...
What is your business? Like,
yeah.
Tell me what you do, because obviously ancient history to what you do now is like a 180.
Yeah. So for the last 4 years, I've been involved in a network marketing company that's been amazing. My husband and I are about to cross the $500,000 mark earned with that company. So we've had a lot of background in leadership development, teamwork, coaching, training, you name it. And so recently I've been feeling just really called to work with women entrepreneurs. Not that I don't already, but I want to step out and help them in all areas of business, whether it be within my company's team or not. So I've created this incredible business called momsmakingithappen.com. The website's going to be coming really soon, but we've got an awesome Instagram presence already. And what I do is I really take a woman in her business, and it can be very personalized. Maybe she's just someone who needs accountability to help her get to the next step. Maybe she's someone who needs some direction on where her business is going, her branding. And some women have themselves confused as to what they want their business to be, because they think they should go a certain way after the money, but it's not really what they're passionate about. So I'm here to help them figure out what they're passionate about and how we can create an excessive income with that. And also, one thing is that as entrepreneurs, we're so terrible with time management sometimes, and we work like dogs, right? Like, we work around the clock, so much more than our friends who have jobs and go to work every day, come home, and then they get to kick back with their families and their kids and not have a worry in the world most of the time. So we're putting in longer hours, oftentimes sacrificing periods of less pay, to make our businesses successful. And then our family relationships can suffer easily if we're not aware of, keeping them a priority. So I really help women, like, what's your calendar? And that's actually one of the things I'm going to give away in the free gift, which I'm sure we'll get to, but, how to fill out your calendar so that you're not letting any of those aspects fall and you're still running an awesome business, family life, and just really living out your passion.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Okay, so going back to the explanation, what is Instagram?
Instagram is an amazing platform. It's all picture-based. So if you find Facebook to be a little confusing and, just a lot of little caveats on Facebook, Instagram is about as simple as it gets. So if you love pictures, you're somebody that's always got your camera out anyway, it's a complete fit, even for people who would say, well, my business isn't visual, like business coaching like I do. How is that visual? Well, it's really easy. You can do behind the scenes pictures, highlight your clients, give tips, give motivational quotes and business tips. So Instagram is an amazing platform. It's so much more interactive than a lot of the other social sites right now. So yeah, Instagram is awesome. I love it.
So for somebody who, for example, was looking at getting involved in their own business along this line, mm-hmm. and they didn't have a website yet, mm-hmm. this is one of those platforms or those media types that enable them to get the word out about themselves.
Yes, absolutely. And there's a lot of ways, even the momsmakingithappen.com website is not live yet. So you can create a small landing page, a small squeeze page or splash page, whatever. They're all the same thing, where you can start collecting names and, give away a free little gift that includes some value for people. And yes, it's an easy way to create brand recognition on social media, create a great following of clients, and start to build your newsletter list at the same time.
Awesome.
Mhm.
So what, when you get into, being a mom and juggling everything,
Yeah.
in your particular situation, it's great because obviously you have a wonderful husband who is right there by your side, supporting you, supporting what it is that you do, helping out with the kids when you need to. But for those women out there who are single moms, do you have any advice for them?
Well, I've never been a single mom, so I can't speak from knowing, but I have a lot of friends who have been single moms, and one of my best friends actually is a single mom, and she has sacrificed like you would not believe. You have to be willing to just grit down and say, I'm going to be a mom making this happen, like I'm going to make this happen and I don't care what it takes. And what I mean by that is she would spend late into the night, 10, 11, 12, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. on her computer figuring out how to prospect people, how to hone in on her business skills. And now she's made almost $1 million as an entrepreneur. So it is honestly sometimes just finding the grit and just doing it. Another thing I would say is, as far as childcare is concerned, there's a million different opinions about childcare, but even myself and my husband, there's a great little preschool literally right down the road from our house. It's church-based, and it's just like a little loving community. Like, the women are so great that work there, and so my daughter goes there twice a week, and she loves it. Like, we call it school, and it gives everybody a break. She's happy, we're happy, and so if you find the right childcare, I don't think it's such a terrible negative thing to be, you're at home, or whatever you're doing to build your business and create a great future for them. So just, keep an open mind about childcare, I would say.
So in this calendar that you are putting out there as your free gift, describe a little bit of it to us so that people can fully understand. I don't want to say you're micromanaging your day, but in another side of that, it's really helping to map out the priority items that you need to be focusing on.
Yeah, absolutely. So my free gift is going to be 7 business tips that I live by in my business, and the calendar is one of these 7. So to give you a few tips on the calendar is every month you do exactly that. You open up, and I don't care if you keep it on your cell phone, like Google Calendar or Outlook or whatever, or you keep a paper calendar, whatever works best for you. It's not going to work unless you commit to it. So I don't care if you spend 10 minutes a day plugging everything into your calendar for the next day. If you don't follow that the next day, you just wasted 10 minutes plugging everything into it. So step 1 is you've got to commit to the calendar. Step 2 is start by plugging in all the family things or the personal activities that must happen that month. So maybe you've got a birthday party you've got to go to. Maybe you have a date night. I highly suggest you pencil in a date night, or maybe with pen. What else? So a lot of people let their house go to shambles because they're working all the time. Go ahead and pencil in time to straighten up the house. You will feel so much better with clarity and peace of mind working in a clean space than if everything is just crazy in your house. So go ahead and pencil that time in. And then when you do the work time, so if you are a full-time entrepreneur, this might be during the day. If you are working a full-time job and working your business at night, these may be those evening hours. But chunk out, and it can be week by week, when you're going to work. Include things like networking events, right? How are you going to go and meet new people? And then let's say you're going to work for a 4-hour span. Chunk the activities together. So if you're going to prospect, if prospecting is one of the things you need to do in that time, do all of it together. So spend 1 hour on prospecting. And here's why. If you give yourself a break and you allow your brain to get out of that space, the little negative thoughts start to creep in. So if you can just stay in the flow and you can just do one thing until you get it done and just, I'm gonna connect with 25 people today that could potentially be clients for my business just by shooting them a quick email or connecting with them on social media or whatever. Do it all at once. Boom, 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 boom. And then you'll be done. Same thing if you're doing coaching calls, right? So you don't want time for the negativity to creep in. So I would book my coaching calls back to back to back, right? So you don't have time. You just you're in the flow, you're in the game, it's high energy, you're talking to the next person. You're going to be so much more productive if you chunk things together. So those are a few of my tips on your calendar.
I think that's awesome that you've really given us a lot of information here on how well to balance all of it, because I think that's one of the most overwhelming things for parents who are also working. And it's, and I'm sure life gets overwhelming when, you're just an adult and you're working and you have pets and you have a house and we can get ourselves so overwhelmed. But I guess, like you said, the less clutter we have in our surroundings, the less clutter we have in our brains, the more organized and on top of things that we can do.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Mm-hmm. So now I have a question for you, because you look really great and in shape. So you got to tell me, how do you build in the time for doing that too when you have kids underfoot and a business to run, and actually in your case, multiple businesses to run?
Yeah. It's a habit, right? Like, it's super important to me to work out. I work out 5 days a week, sometimes 6, and it is a habit. I go, and then my husband goes, and so I've got, the girls, while I'm showering and getting ready for my day, pop in some cartoons, they're hanging out, I'm showered, so by the time he gets home from the gym, I'm ready to hit the office and get some stuff done. But I wake up at 6:30 to 6:45 in the morning, and then my youngest is usually just waking up when I wake up. But here's one thing I always do, and I literally just posted this on Instagram today. I put my gym feet hit the floor in the morning, because if I go downstairs in my pajamas and I'm just drinking coffee, it's so much easier to not, you just, another half hour goes by without you even realizing it. So I put my gym clothes on the second I get out of bed, and then I'm ready to go. So even if the girls start being crazy or whatever, I'm already halfway there, right? I'm already dressed. I just got to throw my shoes on and get in the car and go. So that's yeah.
So you build exercise into that calendar too. Just like when you say, okay, let's think about all the family events we need to focus on this month and build them in. So you build into your schedule.
Yeah.
These routine things, because of course eating healthy and exercising and taking care of yourself is just as important as your business and your kids and your husband and juggling it all.
Yeah, 7:30 to 8:30 every morning. I'll be at the gym.
That's awesome. Yeah. Can you share, if you had one piece of advice, words of wisdom that you would like to share with our listeners today that would help them to actually begin their journey, what would it be?
Are these existing entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs?
Well, I think we probably have a mixture of listeners here. We have people that are probably in jobs, and maybe they're jobs that, aren't their life's passion. It's a paycheck. Yeah. We have people on here who I know would love to be able to have the freedom that is afforded to you when you're an entrepreneur, but maybe don't know where to get started. But I'm sure if they really had to sit back and see where their true passion lies, they could move it forward from there. So we really have a mix on our summit.
Yeah. So I would say if you really want to hone in on what you're passionate about, to start on this entrepreneurial journey, there's two practices. And one is to ask yourself, what would you do if money were no object, right? So what would you do with your life? Who would you help? What service would you provide? What product would you provide if money was no object, right? So even if you're doing something right now and you're kind of doing it for a paycheck, ask yourself that, and maybe your business would shift, not 100%, but maybe just slightly you would pursue a different path if you really were following what you were passionate about. And secondly is your strengths and your likes. So I want you to take a piece of paper, split it down the middle, and on the left, write down all of your strengths. So things you're good at, like I'm naturally good at speaking and coaching and training. It's just what I do. And then on the right is things that you like to do. And a lot of times they're going to match up. So if you can operate from the place that you're good at things and you like to do it, that's called, I've been studying John C. Maxwell lately and all of his leadership tips and tools that he gives. But when you're operating in your gifting space, but out of your comfort zone, then you're in the creative and growth place, right? So when you can be doing the things that you're really good at, but also pushing yourself to be the absolute best at those things that you can be, then you're being creative and growing in your business and in your life. So once you kind of figure out your passion, my best tip, and this is one thing I did from the get-go, is surround yourself with people who either want the same thing as you do or want for you what you want for you, and that can support you, help you be accountable to your dreams and your passions, because it's so easy to get off track as an entrepreneur. So number one, find your passions. Number two, find people who are going to support you on that journey, and you'll be on the right path.
Wonderful. That is some great advice, Amanda. I really appreciate your time here today. For our listeners, I would just like to add, you will have access to Amanda. We're going to put her current website out there, as well as a link to her new site that has not gone live yet, but will be out there shortly, so that you guys can keep that on the back burner, so that you know when to check her out and see what's going on in her life right now. And, Amanda, if you've got any other things that you would like me to, add for them, as far as, how to contact you or get it, see your Instagrams online, I want them to be able to check you out, to be able to see this. And then, of course, there will be the link directly to her free gift.
Yeah.
And it sounds like something you don't want to miss.
No.
If for no other reason, get that calendar rolling, because that's a good start. Unless there's anything else you would like to add, this has just been very rewarding. A lot of information, and not that we want dads to feel excluded here, because I'm sure there are a lot of dads out there. This applies to anybody, not just moms. Single people, like I said, you may not be juggling kids, but a lot of us juggle life. And I think this is beneficial information no matter where you are in life. And we really appreciate the time you've given us today.
Thank you. Yeah, I would just encourage everybody to connect with me on Instagram. It's instagram.com/moms making it happen. And then also the free gift, you guys, you got to grab it. It's my 7 business tips that I absolutely live by. So the calendar is just one of those 7. And then there's also going to be an opportunity to grab a free coaching strategy session with me once you've claimed that gift for my 7 free business tips. So I look forward to being in touch with you guys more through that email list.
Wonderful. And we'll make sure that we have all the links to all of this, Amanda, so that people can really connect with you. I really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Pam. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.